Okay, welcome back to my chess stream here on lichess and Twitch. I lowered the FPS by 2. I don't know if this is going to help, but I don't have any other ideas. It doesn't seem to be my internet speed. I mean, it looks like our ping is good. Actually, we have a really low ping of 45 on, and so I can't really technically explain why I have this drop frames sometimes and sometimes not. I'm not enough of a technical expert in this streaming to tell you what causes the drop frames, but it looks like it's better now. The camera speed is really not that important. It's not like I'm playing a high-end video game. Alright, so let's go with it from here. It looks better now. I'm gonna have to break the video up into 3 pieces on Twitch, but that's okay. We've had to restart twice. Anyway, let's get on with our challenges. Hopefully I'll keep an eye on it. I don't have a moderator. We're going to have to get a new moderator, I think, because of trolls like this guy. So if anyone wants to be a moderator, let me know. Somebody who's here all the time, though. I mean, not just once in a while. I really need one of the viewers who is basically here almost every stream. So I have to check through our regulars and see what we got. Anyway, Queen d4, Knight f6 I wanted to play, but you can't do this. Because, well, maybe you can, actually. Oddly enough, no one's actually played this for black. Maybe this is okay. It reminds me of the dragon a little bit. The 11-fish variation of the dragon. You just play bishop e7 if e5, knight d5. Oddly, this has never been reached in a tournament game. Queen d4, knight f6. No one had the guts to play this move. But queen f6 is even stronger. Maybe not. Maybe they're about the same. I mean, I don't know. Everyone played queen f6. There's no big names here. Karsten Hoy, Timo, Stefan Juric is the best. But you know, I could play knight f6. It doesn't look bad at all, actually. Bishop g5, bishop e7. And nothing white can really do specially here. Maybe white is slightly better. Alright. Ayeste, Morales, King Wiki, VFant. All you guys have been here on my stream before, obviously. You know that, and I know that. But I'm missing a lot of my regulars because I'm not streaming every morning at the same time. Just Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays are morning streams now. Guys, please subscribe to the stream. I don't usually have so much technical problems like now. Alright, let me check to make sure our stream is good. It's better now. We've got audio, we've got video, and we'll keep the trolls in check. Yes, he's tough. Okay. I just woke up about half an hour ago, so I'm a little bit not feeling up to playing e4 yet. We'll be streaming for about 2 more hours. Hopefully I'll wake up by then. I rarely play this move order, but I thought let's try something different. Now, if you play with a Slav, I mean, you're playing against a Slav. Basically, there's nothing white can do other than play c4. I mean, it's just, of course, it's possible to play e3 then c4. But we have to transpose to the Slav if we want to get anything with white. Very quiet stream this morning, Monday morning. I had a simul last night, 25 boards, and it went pretty well for me. The last several simuls on Sunday nights, I do a simul every week. The last several simuls have been kind of bad results, but last night felt like it was back to almost normal strength. I've been getting over jet lag, and I still can't sleep normally. I've been very sleep deprived. Though I try to sleep, I just can't. Where is everyone? We had 16 viewers, now we're down to 10. I don't know, guys. Monday morning doesn't look good. Really not Bob. Bob, you're not related to Bob Sacamano, right? We had more than one Bob before. Uh-oh. D takes C4. I lost a really bad game on my simul 2 weeks ago in this line. And hopefully that doesn't happen again. There was a long time ago a book like 20 years ago that came out called The Queen's Gambit for the Attacking Player. And this variation was recommended in there. But after h6... I don't know, I never faced this move to my recollection. Now what the dude did last simul was queen b6, which is recommended in the book I was talking about. This is the main, I think, the best try. Although most players don't know this line. There are like 10 different ways for black to play this position, literally. I mean, almost 10, and very few people know to play queen b6 here. You kind of have to be like booked up and a specialist in this variation. No sir, Bob's my father's brother. Free Helios. Well, welcome guys. I've had some problems this morning with the dropped frames. I lowered the FPS by 2. Anyway, we're not streaming like high-end video games, so I don't think that the streaming speed of my camera, frames is gonna matter that much. If my head is moving slowly on the screen, it's not so critical. All right, now I guess this transposes to another line. I'm not sure I've ever been here before. I'm going to have to look this up, because this is a little bit disturbing. It's funny that I never ran into this move order before, and this doesn't really appeal to me. I can take on f6, but it doesn't look right, to give up the bishop necessarily here. So here we are. Sharp position. I decided not to play e4 because I wasn't awake yet, and this is what I get? Like, seriously? Brother. H4 G4 95 B4 94 knight takes E4. It's kind of crazy. This is an extremely sharp continuation by me, but we kind of need to do something. Obviously he could play B4, knight A4, knight takes E4. At this point, I think we might have transposed to the Moscow variation. I once lost a game to this old man named Avram Pismeni, who is like a 2300 USCF player. He absolutely crushed me. A different move order. He played the proper Moscow variation move order, and I think I did something bad, like, I don't remember. I took back with the bishop, or instead of what I was supposed to take back with the pawn on f3. I don't remember, but I think bishop g7, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Takes in bishop g7. Anyway, this old man, was funny because he had this really messed up name with like 3 triple letters in it. A Cyrillic name that they're trying to spell in like, Latin letters. And his first tournament, he was like in the under 1400 section. Then he was like in the under 1600 section. Then the under 1800 section. So he like won every possible section known to man. You know, before they figured out that he was like, you know, it took that long to figure out he was like 2300 FIDE or something. It was like insane. Okay, now maybe king f2, but then c5 is going to come along and do bad things to me. Now I guess bishop f4 perhaps. I guess I can let him get a rook on the 7th. Not really in love with it. I'm running out of time. I didn't want a sharp game like this while I'm not awake yet, but Avram played like the same exact position, and I totally got crushed with white. But the move order was much different. You can play this position by playing like bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, d takes c, e4, g5, bishop g3, b5, etc., etc. Kasparov, I think, played this gambit with white back in the late 90s or early 2000s. Wasn't really theory until about 20 years ago. Just don't play Ultra Bullet. Well, I would just like, you know, Ayesta is pretty solid normally. I think this is a really aggressive line. I don't expect this from him. I expect him to play something a little less risky for black, but okay. At least my e4 pawn is safe. a4. I have no idea about this position. I really don't. I'm just down a pawn. That's how I feel. I'm just kind of down a pawn. And yeah, I have a strong pawn on e4, but is that enough to justify being down a pawn? I'm very confused. If I take with the pawn, my pawn structure gets kind of bizarre. And he ends up with like a 4-on-2 majority on the queen side. I think this would be very, very problematic. I mean, he does already, you know, have a 3-on-2. This pawn has to get past this guy. So, man. Now my pawn on h4 is really, really funky. I guess I'll be sacrificing that too. I feel like I'm playing the King's Gambit or something. I don't know. This is so weird, this position. He's going to castle queenside. And I don't feel particularly safe right now. a4. Okay, it's just basically a blitz game. I mean, I can't expect perfection here. Black is better, in my opinion. I don't know. I think he's just up a pawn. Maybe I should have taken here. No, I'm not thinking heads up enough. I really should have taken on g4, perhaps. But this will be decided by time rather than position, I think. We have a strong passed pawn. This is obviously really double-edged castle king side, but any decision at this point is dangerous. Put pressure on his position. He played b4 though. Who can blame him? Okay, now that's a mistake. I think you should play c5 there. I really think you should have played c5. Just resigned. Well, it's definitely a premature resignation. I mean, king b7, I take a rook, you take a rook. It may not be that clear. Okay, apparently he's losing because of rook f5. I didn't see this. Okay, at this point it got out of control, but it's very weird, the move order. There's actually a game from 2017, Zarabook versus Samuel Sevian. Zarabook playing in St. Louis now. There's some fall classic, it's called. The Billionaires holding a tournament in St. Louis, and 4 games only. But the fact that Sevian played this could have been in an open tournament. I have no idea where this was. Quite interesting. A couple people played bishop takes f6. I don't know what the follow-up is, like after bishop takes f6. Maybe that's the safer continuation, but I don't know how I'm going to get my pawn back. So this is Sevian's idea, like he just like keeps a pawn apparently. Okay, now I know. It's safer to castle and just be down a pawn this way. Okay, this position has to be analyzed. Could be a very safe way for black to play too. So bishop h4, and now I think we're transposing. We should be transposing into, yeah, there it is. We're transposing into this line that I don't really enjoy. Play bishop b7, h4. This is Nakamura Ding Liren. I said Kasparov, didn't I? Early 2000s. This is actually not what I was thinking of. Kasparov beat Dreyev later in 2004. Wasn't Kasparov... Kasparov hadn't quit chess by then? F3 is not the main move. Apparently castles is more common. That's how I lost to Pismeni. I castled here instead of playing F3. That was about 20... Well, that was about 18 years ago, that game. So let's see. Rook G8. This is not a really common move. You're supposed to play knight on BD7. Rook G8. Yeah, this is... So I should take on G4. The thing that bothered me about that, I guess, was B4. But apparently... I don't know, I looked at F takes G, but I thought B4, and if G5, he just takes my knight and wins a piece. This bothered me. But maybe it's not a problem. Now this is a correspondence game you're looking at there. It's a really weird guy, this Demian from Canada. G5. What is going on? Wow, and so the point is this pulverizing of H5. I would have never seen this in a blitz game. B takes C, B takes C, and then white's winning because I'm going to kill him on H5. Knight takes E4, and I sacrifice the house. Bishop takes H5. Maybe easy for Steinitz or something, but I would have a hard time finding this in a blitz game. According to the computer, it's just over. I'm down a piece, but I'm just totally winning. So I didn't find that. Anyway, understandable. Morales, King Wiki, Vfant, and Abu Fazl. Alright guys, please subscribe to the channel. We're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. I'm also doing Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Special streams. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, is going to be probably a regular event where I play a viewer tournament. So please come by tomorrow night. I think I said 6:30 p.m. tomorrow night. That sounds right. 6:30 p.m. tomorrow night, we're going to play a viewer tournament. It'll be like a private tournament. Well, basically a private tournament. Maybe I won't make it officially private, but for the viewers and subscribers against me, maybe I'll play, maybe I won't play, and just or I'll just play a few games and mostly do like just host the tournament. And here I'm gonna play b6. This is a new line I'm working on. I'll host the tournament, analyze your games in the tournament, play a couple of games on my own, and just go from there. It's more fun if I watch the games of the viewers, I think. Bishop b7. So tomorrow night, Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Be here. 6:30 p.m. European time, Central European time, as they call it. Okay, the other day I had a game where somebody did like e3 and d4 Morales, and that actually looks like, you know, on the surface the most testing line, but I didn't have a lot of trouble. I played rook c8. You know, here he's just playing kind of, he's playing conservatively. I had the same exact position against wait. No, I didn't have the same exact position. I had a similar position against Slavko Žižek last week on my stream when I had to play on ICC a couple of games. I lost against Žižek in a drawn rook ending because he had like a minute and I had 5 seconds left. But here I had a variation. There was similar position with like knight d4, knight takes d4, bishop takes g2, knight e6, something like that. But actually, knight d4 in this position, white can play e3, and the position is equal. But against Žižek, I did that. I did like knight takes d4, bishop takes b7, knight e6, f takes e6. It was a weird game. I'm not sure if this was exactly the same position or not. Maybe his knight was already on f6 and I had played another move. Maybe his knight was already on f6 and I had already played bishop d2, I think. Which doesn't really improve white's position very much. So yesterday, that's a very interesting move order you played. You know, that's actually going to be important theoretically. Because, you know, Sevian is finding a way to avoid kind of the main line there. And if I play bishop takes f6, it's another position that's never really been played much, except for that one Sasho Nikolov game. I lost to that guy once in a tournament in Ljubljana, the last round. I was Swiss. Played e4. One of my many great e4 games. So here we are. Well, if he captures on d4, I guess I take with the pawn. You know, and that way it's it's kind of disruptive. I mean, he could certainly make this capture. Take with the pawn. I've got to just push his knight off its good square on c3. Play d6. It's like a closed Sicilian now. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure my game against Žižek, like this was here and this was here. And basically that inner position of moves, I think, probably favors black more than white. I mean, knight f6 is more of a useful move. Morales just dropped a piece. I'm going to give you a take back, man. because I think this position will be fun to play. Interesting so far. One take back every stream seems fair to me. Alright, so I'm waiting for my take back. It is an unrated game. It'd be a pity to just win in 8 moves, like, from a normal position. We lost last time against Morales. In the simul. Oh god. Right, rook against knight. Last night I had a really painful loss against Divlyavatra, one of our regular viewers and subscribers. I reached an ending with rook against knight and 2 connected passed pawns. And this is funny, this is an ending that I never really like studied. I've seen it in practice. Come to think of it, like, I never actually remember like having that ending in a tournament game in all my life. It's kind of surprising, but I guess it's just a draw, but I messed it up and lost with a rook against knight and 2 connected passed pawns. I just thought of that because Morales I have knight and 2 connected passed pawns, but he has a rook and 2 connected passed pawns, which is a little tougher. Now we have a problem, Houston, because I think he's threatening like bishop takes d4 and knight d5. So I might have to play like d6 here preemptively. d6, bishop takes, pawn takes, knight b5, queen d7, queen a4. But there I have a move, I hope. I have any number of moves, I guess. King e7. It's a wonderful move, isn't it? Certainly knight d6, that's very irritating. a6 is very weakening. Knight e7, bishop takes d5, pawn takes d5, knight b5. And I'm going to lose a pawn there. Alright, well, it looks like slightly uncomfortable if he plays bishop takes, pawn takes, knight b5. No, actually, I'll just play e5 there. What was I saying? Yeah, he would have like queen a4. If I have to move my king, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Honestly, if he gives up his dark squared bishop, if he gives up his good bishop in this position, I mean, maybe I could put my king on a dark square. Now, here's a situation which has cropped up a lot lately. Thinking about playing h6 or not. I've had a bunch of these Botvinnik type of positions. If he plays bishop h6, I can just castle. It should be equal for black. Actually, transposing to the closed Sicilian is so weird. This game started with as an English opening. This is a strange move, though. Knight g5 is bad. I mean, I'm actually happy to get my stuff on the dark squares here. Shore up the dark squares. It's still a really, really just tough position to play. There's the possibility of f5 and this diagonal opening up, you know, so I'm getting my rook off the line and maybe eventually, well, I'm planning on playing bishop c8, believe it or not, and that's why I moved my rook. I was thinking of playing bishop c8. Maybe it's silly at this stage, but bishop c8, bishop e6, and a more traditional sort of development with queen d7. But if I try to set that up, what I'm doing is walking into f5, and that's why I played rook b8 here. Hey, Protagon. Thanks for being a subscriber, man. Okay, this exchange now, he's got to watch out that he's not, you know, going to have problems with the backward pawn on d3, but I guess his justification that he can always lob a knight into d5 like that. You know, so now we're going to play like strategic chess. He doesn't have b4. He'd love a break, but he doesn't have it because of takes and knight c2. Now we've got two good knights against knight and bad bishop. Hoppa. I wasn't paying close enough attention to that threat. And I don't have knight f7, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to play g5. It's awkward, but it's not the end of the world. Not what I wanted. You know, it's very inflexible. But, c'est la vie. I can't let him into h6, I don't think. Actually, I could. He's not actually threatening anything devastating there. So, maybe he kind of bluffed me into playing g5, I mean. Another game that's most likely going to be decided by time. Yeah, he's fine after bishop h3. Probably I shouldn't allow that. Yeah, he found it. Damn it. I'm going to keep that. Keep my defender. Now d3 is just hanging. I think he had rook takes f6 just there. And he's pretty fast. I almost flagged. There. I'm surprised how low his bullet rating is. I mean, considering how fast he can move. He's only got 88 games in bullet. Mostly blitz. But you might have had rook takes f6 a move earlier, Morales. I think I gave it to you for one move. Yeah. There was one move where I saw it immediately. I was like, oh my god, he has rook takes f6. Yeah, right here. That's just threatening mate in 1. So now there was another move here. You have mate in 14 apparently. With king h4. Okay, that I don't expect you to find. This is mate in 14 for white. King h4. Pretty normal game. The computer says he's better here. I shouldn't have let him play like... I shouldn't have played g5 basically. Right here. It's just not necessary to weaken my position. It's hard to believe I can be worse with 2 monster knights like this, but that's what the computer says. I'm just clearly worse. Okay, 0.6 isn't necessarily clearly worse, but it's already better for white. Pretty nasty. Carlsen lost against Chinese player. Yeah, I mean, Bu has been around for a long time. He's actually, he's a grizzled veteran. You know, this grandmaster, I'm not good at pronouncing Chinese names, but Bu Yanqi, I guess that's how you say it. I'm not sure. He's like one of the oldest ones. I mean, there are older Chinese grandmasters who played in like the 1988 Manila Olympiad or whatever the heck that was. But you know, most of them are like retired. Of the active Chinese grandmasters, Bu is probably the oldest. He's, I don't know, what is he, like in his 30s? But he's very experienced. He's like 26, 80 probably. I mean, yeah, Carlsen lost, but I'm not surprised Carlsen lost. I just didn't think, you know, I thought it would be a big name that would take him out, probably. I don't know why I want to play c5 here today. But Carlsen, I didn't see the second game. I'm not a big Carlsen fan. I mean, anybody who watches my stream regularly knows that, but he does have a great style for this kind of format, you know. Carlsen could win the tournament, but nobody's a favorite, you know. It's a pretty random. It's a format of tournament that doesn't exactly, like, you know, favor the expected results. A tournament format designed to create chaos, basically. Knockout world championships are particularly silly in my opinion. But anyway, it's not a world championship. It's just a tournament, you know. It's a knockout tournament. It's fun. Magnus. It was an interesting game, but I didn't see the second game. He has to really try to beat Bu with black, I guess. Or no, what was the color now? Bu won with black in the first round, right? So Carlsen had to win with black in the second round. I mean, the dude played an amazing game. You know, he sacked a piece on h3, then followed it up perfectly. You know, he played like a machine. And what can Carlsen do? Go back to the drawing board and like not play h3 or play perfectly. You know, Carlsen probably, even after Bu sacked the piece, he could probably find a way to hold on, you know, like if he played perfectly. But he's human, you know. I mean, it's a interesting move here, bishop g5. I don't think I've ever faced that before. Who do you cheer for in the players that are ref? Well, I mean, Aronian would be my favorite. Kramnik is out, so we will root for Aronian. I don't know if Richard Rapport is still in the tournament. I guess he probably got knocked out. I didn't see his name. I guess I feel an obligation to root for the Hungarian players. Wow, I've never faced this move ever. I don't think anyone has ever played this against me. But why not? You know, it's going to transpose to an old Indian. I mean, I guess I can take on d4. But it's not necessarily good for me to do this. I really don't know. More traditionally, we would maintain the pawn on e5, but I don't really play the mainline old Indian, you know, which is what we'll transpose to if I don't do this. Maybe I could play like knight c6 or something weird. Knight c6 d5 looks strange immediately. So if knight c6, bishop takes f6. Queen takes f6, queen takes f6, pawn takes f6. That's kind of funky. Something new and totally different. Objectively, white should be okay here. Welcome everyone to my chess stream. International Master Willam Paschall. We're playing blitz and classical chess here on lichess. Please subscribe to my Twitch stream channel. Also check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Make sure everything is good. We've got mic, we've got no drop frames. When the stream started, I had some problems, but it seems to be worked itself out. The same format through the whole tournament, yes. No, I think already. Well, I don't know. The whole variation hinges on knight d5. You know, I play king d8, and after knight takes f6, bishop g7. That's why this is playable for me. I need to play f5 to open my bishop up. It's very powerful, but my structure kind of sucks, so basically, you know, the game is probably more or less equal. My pawn structure, you know, offsetting my powerful bishops. I don't know if there's any advantage in not playing f5. I mean, I have to get my bishop in the game, but I have these doubled isolated pawns aren't really very appealing. It looks like it basically looks like some kind of what am I trying to say here? It looks like some kind of Trumpowski. Now everybody has a bad pawn structure. This file is relevant. Knight d5 is relevant here. I can always play king d8 if I have to. Pawn cubes. Pretty ugly structure here for both sides. Now, I mean, my knight could meander over here to another good outpost. Should he kick me out with f4 in the future, we do have an alternate home for Mr. Knight. So yeah, everybody was talking about the World Cup. You know, this tournament is very important, I guess, because it's a qualifier for the World Championship Candidates Tournament. You know, other than the fact that there are just like normal prizes. Okay, now g4. Yeah, that's something I'm not really looking forward to. Bishop b7. Now bishop a6 could win a pawn. Where is my bishop disappearing to? Okay. I guess we'll be materialistic. Try to win a pawn. I'm not materialistic enough, I think. We all have our character flaws. And I think one of mine is probably not thinking materially, in some cases, enough. Now he's threatening c7. Knight f6 check doesn't really do anything. But if I castle, knight e7 is a problem. So That makes it a little awkward. We could play king d7. Might as well just play king d8, I guess. Temporary inconvenience for black, but probably not fatal. He has a4 here, whatever that's worth. Bishop takes. He also has f4. Knight takes c4. It's putting me in an awkward pin. Kind of permanent pin. But on the other hand, you know, how permanent is it? Because I can play like c6 and d5 at some point. Maybe it's permanent enough, though. If he plays f4, I play knight takes c4. He has knight b4 immediately. Just undermining my whole position. So f4, I don't think I could take that pawn. I have to go back. Or, I do have bishop takes c4. f4, bishop takes c4. And then, if pawn takes knight, bishop takes, it gets kind of scary. But this way I'm out of the woods. I mean, I'm just up a pawn here with a kind of funky structure, but you know, that was kind of lazy. White should have spent more time calculating his way out there. Because in this situation, alright, he may win one of my doubled pawns at some point, but it's not guaranteed. And he is down a pawn on the queen side. I mean, at this point now it's like 1, 2, 3. No, wait. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 against 4. I mean, you know, that's basically going to be winning for me in the long run. I've got to mobilize my pieces. And maybe he's thinking about a route to attack my pawn, I think, on f5 here. He's looking for knight c2 or knight c6 and knight d4. I can play c5. I like c5 sometimes, but there could be some drawbacks to that move with my king here now. If I play c5, I'm weakening myself here. So I don't know. I may have to find an alternate way to defend the f5 pawn. Something like this. Watch the forks. I can meet rook d5, rook d4. Rook e4, countering his rook. Now there's the possibility of c5 or c6. c5, knight d5. No, c5, rook takes, rook is forced. And then pawn takes. And I should be winning here. c5, f3. And that looks silly. What? You actually followed my advice, but you're losing a piece here. Your rook is attacked by a pawn. So you get for listening to me, man. Never listen to me. I was just sort of mumbling. Totally hopeless now. Is the candidate tournament this year in Summer versus Magnus next year? I don't know. I really don't know, you know. It depends on, you know, what the purveyors of corruption say. The World Chess Federation is a disaster. I mean, I have no idea. Probably it's like, you know, set, but you never know. Guys, let's get some challenges from the subscribers and viewers here. We're going to be streaming for over another hour, so we've got plenty of time for a couple more challenges. VFAT88. Okay, VFAT. I thought we played before, but I guess someone else just had a similar name. Alright. Please don't challenge me to rated. Make it casual. Leroy Lopez. Sheppy, what's up? Good to see you. Wasn't the FIDE, yeah, the FIDE president who was abducted by aliens. I think it's just a matter of wanting attention. Bishop A4. You know, a good way to get on TV is to claim you've been abducted by aliens. I don't know. That's just my opinion. D3, protecting the pawn. Yeah, okay. I'm not really, you know, feeling like I have to weaken myself in this sort of position. There's no necessity to play B5. I mean, you can play B5 if you prefer, but yeah, now I'm really seriously thinking about Bishop G4, because if he plays, yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to do this. Okay, Bishop G4, H3, Bishop H5, G4, Bishop G6. But you're seriously weakening your king side if you do that. I mean, I think that's a risk worth taking. Normally in the Lopez with black, you don't really want your bishop to get shut out over here on H5. But if he's going to weaken his king side with like H3 and G4 and not be able to play F4, and my pieces are hopping into that dark square on D4, or rather F4. I don't know anything about this player. On another note, there's a famous game I saw recently where, like, you know, something happened like H3, bishop takes F3, queen takes F3, bishop G5, and after bishop E3, white was just better. Thematic control of D4. He's ignoring that. After that, I asked, please bring me back, because the next day I should be back in Kalmykia and then go to Ukraine. They said, no problem, you have time. Come on, man. I mean, if they're going to abduct someone, it wouldn't be that guy. If they're real aliens, dude, they're not going to abduct this. I won't say any adjectives. Alright. You know, I believe that there could be aliens, but they wouldn't abduct Kyrgyzstan. If they're going to abduct anyone, it would be someone else. Now we've got real nasty pressure down the F line. I think this is just like positionally horrible for white. Eternal pin. Playing a little too fast. A lot of people aren't used to the 5+3 time control. If you're not used to playing with increments, you've got to really learn to take your time. I'm going to use as much time as I need, you know, and that's something you can't do when you don't have an increment. When you play without increment, you really have to be very, very careful about the time and limit yourself. But with the increment, let's just Queen G5 check. Does that have... Does that have a definite benefit? Queen G5 check, King H2, Queen F4 check, King G2, Rook F6. And something like Rook G1. Well, I mean, I think everything wins here, basically. It's kind of a matter of style. Anyway, you know, sadly, most political organizations and sporting organizations are run by corrupt politicians, so there's not much we can do about it. FIDE is no exception. It just doesn't look like I can checkmate him by force. I'm going to have to just win a pawn and go from there. He said something about chess comes from space. Well, the fact that chess comes from space is more likely than he got abducted by aliens, I have to admit. Slightly more likely. No, but I mean, why didn't white play King G2 here? It's not so easy after King G2. I'll have to triple up. Rook F6 followed by Rook F8. I mean, it's winning for black no matter what, but... now it's simply really bad. Can he not get mated? Can he avoid getting mated like Rook H1? Rook H1. Rook takes F2 check. I still don't see a mate. I mean, this has to be mate. Purple. Purple nurple. Alright. So, not much to say about this game. I mean, he just shouldn't exchange on E6 ever. My move doesn't have a very good score. This ultra solid German Grandmaster, I don't know how you say this, Rene Stern, played knight D7. I should play bishop G4 first. I still would think this is okay. I like black here. The computer says H3, bishop H5, G4. I was talking about that, but I mean, okay, it seems like the lesser of the evils for white. I don't believe that white is better here. I can't accept that. I mean, wow. I could be wrong. It says that white is better. Bishop E3, knight E6, knight D5. The computer's evaluation is starting to drop down to like 0.2 in a lot of lines. But I guess that's your only try, man. I mean, okay, bishop G4. This is still not fatal for white. This is the bad move. Okay, knight D5 is not good, but this is a very bad exchange. Now you're just lost after this. You can't open the F file for me. Abu Fazl, Save a Dog, and who is L? The cooling fan is making too much noise. Well, I don't know, man. You're the first person to comment that, but we played the whole simul with the fan on yesterday. Nobody said anything. But, you know, it could be a little softer, I admit. We'll try to turn it off. You want to roast me here. It's like afternoon heat coming on. So we'll try to turn off the fan. I don't know how long I can survive. It's probably like 38 degrees Celsius in here. Abu Fazl. We'll try to play a couple games with the fan turned off. We only have to make it another hour. But nobody mentioned it yesterday during the entire simul. You're too sensitive. E4. I'm finally warmed up. I can play some E4. Alright, French defense. Did you see Ivanchuk win against Kramnik? I know he's a genius, but I didn't see it. Yeah, I just heard he won 1.5, a half against Kramnik. Yeah, maybe Ivanchuk is my other favorite next to Aronian. Great players. I'm actually used to the fan now. It's like this white noise, and when I turn it off, it's like very kind of disturbing because I feel like something's missing. We had this once before, Abu Fazl, I remember now. Or was it someone else? Yeah, it was you, okay. So he's repeating the same line so far. Yeah, it's like a sauna in here. I live on the roof, and the sun beats down on the roof, and it's really clear and hot right now. It's like living in like a aluminum hut or something. Queen b6. So I'll see how far I can make it, but it's kind of brutal to ask me to turn the fan off. How do you play against the French's big center? The what? The French's big center? Now he played this move. I'm just trying to remember what went down last time. Did you play... We had a totally different line last time. Wait a minute here. Okay, last time I didn't play knight f3. I'm the one that deviated. So, okay, last time I played castles and sacked a pawn. This is the main line. But bishop e4 check. I was actually talking about this. Maybe not this exact position. No, here I can't play king f1, can I? No, of course I can play king f1. Okay, this is the main move, though. I was looking at this with one of my students last week. You know, how do you play against the French's big center? What's the goal for white? Piece activity? You know, after f6? Well, you know, f6 always walks into these knight f4 moves. When black does f6 in these lines, it gets extremely tactical. Bishop e4 check, in my opinion, is kind of weird. Now this move, I really don't know. I think I'm supposed to just take here. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, this happens, knight f4, but not in this position. I don't think so. I can do that. I think I have to take here. He's got this all memorized. Now maybe I could take on b4. Take on b4, queen takes b4, queen d2, knight e4. Bishop takes e4, pawn takes e4, queen takes b4, knight takes b4. That's kind of weird. Then I'm losing material. It's not weird, it's just bad. I mean, castles has to be the right move. One of my students had almost the exact same game. Last week we went over it. Except I'm not sure the guy's queen was on b6. His opponent's queen was on b6, I'm not sure. Bishop takes b4, queen takes b4, queen d2, knight e4. Well, I could just take on b4 and play like bishop b1 or something. But that's a bit weird. Still, we have time to play a3 and kick him out. Bishop d7, a3, knight back to c6. But the knight on e4 is sort of disturbing me. Castling looks natural. Castles. I think we looked at lines like this. The pawn on b2, he's going to be able to take that in some positions, but it's very, very dangerous. I mean, white's definitely better here. But I mean, it might be simpler to play bishop takes b2. That's the only thing. Bishop takes b4. Less complicated. My opponent is playing so fast. The time really makes a difference. Bishop e4 doesn't make sense. You know, it's not really a normal line. I mean, you're trading your important dark square bishop, which is the most important piece for black in the Tarash. I mean, this is the piece that Botvinnik went out of his way to like play bishop e3 and allow bishop takes e3 and f takes e with an isolated pawn on e3 against Boleslavsky in a Soviet championship. The whole strategic idea for white is to trade these bishops, basically. That's a very good exchange for white, if I can trade the bishops. So, you know, the only question is like exactly the right, you know, the right way to do it. Should I take on b4? Here he can lose a tempo with something like bishop b6. I mean d6. Your preparation is over now. Me too. But I don't like bishop b4 particularly. Knight g3. This is actually not a ridiculous move to play like bishop e3 over protecting my pawn. Knight g3, knight takes d4, knight takes d4. Oh no. Can he do that? Like knight g3, knight takes d4, sniping a pawn. Doesn't make sense to play bishop e3. What does make sense here? Actually, bishop c3 even makes some sense. I don't know. I'm sure that white is better. Maybe queen c2, some weird move like queen b1. Knight g3, knight takes d4. He just wins a pawn. If I just simply play bishop takes b4, queen takes b4, just awkward to protect my... it's just a little awkward to protect my pawn on b2. That's the only thing that bothers me about this. I guess I could play queen b3 would be equal. Can I trap his queen or something? No, it just never seems to happen. He's saying this is equal. Well, I haven't checked with my computer yet, but that's what I said. Somehow it doesn't seem right for black, you know, to trade the dark squared bishops. You do have a bad piece, you know. So I'm not sure that's objectively, is it really equal? My plan was to play queen c2 and a3, pressurizing h7 to keep him tied down, and then play a3 to kick his queen out, and then sort of just go from there. This I did not expect. I think it seems strange in a way to give up the e5 square. Bishop b1. He has such a ridiculous time advantage in this position. I could sack a pawn. I mean, maybe that's the simplest. 95. I don't really like giving up material, though. As white, why not avoid it with e5? Something like keeping the tension is usually better than releasing the tension on move 3. Theoretically. If you really like closed positions, you might prefer e5. So far, it seems like both sides have played pretty well. His knight on b4. Okay, I mean, this move keeps control of e4, gets out of this pin he's trying to set me up with. He's given up the e5 square completely, which is a mortal sin by Nimzovician principles. Yeah, Sheppy, I think that you know, knight d2 c5 is kind of the critical line. I could play rook e1. This way I'm reinforcing f2. Put my knight on e5. Now, I'm not sure if it's really equal. I mean, he's thinking about his pieces, but there's more to chess than the activity of the pieces. I think in Black's mind, all of his pieces are developed, so he's equal, but structurally he's worse. Yes, I have an isolated pawn, but he has these hanging pawns. And the positional problem is the backwardness of this pawn. So maybe more important than the actual structure of the pawns is their vulnerability to attack. We both have 3 pawn islands here, but you know, it's the question of which is weaker, his 2 hanging pawns or my isolated pawn. My isolated pawn is on a dark square, and in general, black's having trouble controlling the dark squares here. Look at e5. You know, this square has no control whatsoever. He's probably looking at crazy stuff like rook here, but I play a3, and then his rook is getting trapped after knight c6, bishop d3. It's a big problem. So he goes back. Now maybe knight a4 at some point. If this rook was in the game, he would be a dead man. I mean, strategically, I think. His only saving grace here is the fact that my rook on a1 has been unable to coordinate. He would be in a lot of trouble if I had that piece really well centralized on d1 or something. I would say clear advantage to white. The fact that my rook is not in the game probably keeps him alive here, strategically. So he has to play actively somehow. Now I see some ideas, but there are tactics too. Maybe knight h5 for black. Knight h5. Knight h5, knight g5. He played knight g4. Similar ideas. Rook d1. He's trying to sack the exchange or something. I want to protect this pawn. Uh-oh. Wow, I almost lost on time. I don't know. I think that I'm slightly better now. The engine doesn't really agree. It says it's equal. No, nice game by black. Really nice game by black. Let me see. Computer analysis here. This is, I think, a really standard sort of game. Bishop e4 check. It's the secondary line. White has a good score. According to the engine, it's the best move. Well, f6 or bishop e4 check. Yeah, there's a lot of games. White's score is excellent, though. 42%. King f1 might be even better, but as I said, I looked at this with my student, and king f1 was unclear, whereas bishop d2 looked more correct. This is all best play. Black played 11 center pawn loss, and I played 12. Basically perfect play. Now in this position, there's a correspondence game there. I see this Patrick Mary name all the time. Zapata played white here in 2004 against the 2200. Alonso is a good player. Lost to him twice with black in my career. Bishop f4. So I think that this move that I played was lame. Bishop takes b4. I don't know though. Maybe it's not that bad. I want something better here. Bishop takes b4, knight takes b4. We're following some random games. Bettina was very pissed when I beat her. Okay, knight c6. What do we play here? Bishop d7 is still following some theory. I mean, just two random games. Knight c3. And now this guy played rook a e8, which seems like a strange move. I mean, it's definitely a bad move. That's a horrible move. What is black doing? And he won the game. Rook a e8. It's just utterly passive for black. Why would you play that move? This is a clear improvement over rook a e8. Now, maybe this wasn't the best. I don't know. Knight g4. Oh, that's the engine move. I missed that. I mean, I was only looking at knight h5. But he comes up with the engine move here, and with like 20 seconds I found only rook d1. Now, black basically played perfectly. Now rook takes f3, h takes g4. And apparently you're okay if you do this. And rook f7, according to the engine, the good old engine. Rook f4 makes more sense. Does that win a pawn? What is up with this? And I have queen e3. If rook takes pawn, queen h3. It's really crazy. It looks like black's like winning a pawn here or something. So maybe you're even better. So I guess I made one inaccuracy somewhere. I don't know. Black played like perfectly. Save a dog. Tactical Wizard. The most common move is g5. I didn't see. I didn't see the g5 idea. I missed that. Let's try g6 here. Guys, we're streaming for like another 45 minutes today, so please subscribe to the channel and support the stream. If you can't subscribe, send a donation via PayPal to help support it so I can keep doing this. I'm streaming basically over 15 hours a week, so we're basically streaming 6 days a week, 2.5 to 3 hours. So between 15 and 17 hours a week I'm streaming. Please support the channel. Allow me to keep doing this. I feel like public television or something. You can subscribe or make a donation via PayPal. Also check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. I upload all the streams there, and we're going to be creating some independent videos once in a while, every week or two. Looks like all or nothing move, g5, absolutely. I didn't even consider g5, but if the engine says it's good, then it probably is. Anyway, I think that the guy played like perfectly there in that game. I don't know if I like bishop b4 check, but looks like there's lots of games. According to the database, f6 instead of bishop b4 check is more critical, you know, and so that deserves a lot of analysis. I have only played the French in a handful of games in my life, and I lost to Hikaru the last time I did. I played, you know, he was playing d4 at the time, so I thought I could play e6 and get him to play like the white side of the English defense, but he played e4. And I had prepared that that could happen. This was like 10 years ago, no, 12 years ago now. And I prepared for that to happen, but like when Hikaru played e4 and I played e6 and he played d4 and I played d5, I was gonna play like the Rubinstein variation with black with exchanging on e4, and he played the advance against me. So I lost not a bad game, but I lost in the advanced French against Nakamura. One of five times I've ever played the French in my life. The only time I lost it with Hikaru. C3. Yeah, here we are. Save a dog. This is actually pretty standard stuff. Sometimes white tries to sack a pawn here. I actually, come to think of it, I had this game in Zalakaros in May against an Indian player who was around 2300. The young guy, I guess he was about 15 or 16, no, maybe 16, maybe even 17, but in his mid-teens, and he played d4. We did takes, and now he played knight on bd2. But apparently, the best move for white is like knight a3. Welcome to Banter Blitz. Hey, World Loser, what's up, man? Only for premium losers. Premium losers. World Loser. Thank you for being here, World Loser. I was just saying we probably need another moderator. I mean, I appreciate you being around once in a while, but Plucro's not here anymore, and Yeruin's here like kind of rarely, so I'm going to ask to find someone who's like always watching my stream. I've only been back to Hungary for like a week and a half, basically streaming again. And, you know, we'll see as the schedule kind of becomes regular, you know, if we can find a viewer or two who are here every time. I know that it's going to be kind of tricky because I'm doing different times for my streams. I used to do my stream usually on the same time. Now I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays in the morning, 10 a.m. European time, and Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays in the evening. Tactical Wizard, I know he said premium users. I was just joking. You know, his name is World Loser. And loser rhymes with user, sort of. So I thought I was being funny. So with Carlsen, Nakamura, and Kramnik out, who's the favorite to win the World Cup? Well, I guess Levon is kind of... Is Mamedyarov still in the mix? I would say like Aronian and Mamedyarov if he's still there. Is Caruana still in? Is Caruana still in? I just haven't had time to look at it in the last day or so. Maybe I should play bishop g4 here, but I don't really want to give up my white squared bishop. No, we'll hold off on bishop g4. You know, if he wants to waste the tempo with like h3 to prevent that, that'll be good. He's been out for a while. Okay, Mamedyarov was out. Who knocked out Mamedyarov, by the way? I noticed that Alexander Onishuk was still in till he just lost. He's like the strongest player I ever beat in a normal tournament game. Onishuk, though, is no joke. Yeah, here we go into something I learned from Dvoretsky. We had a couple lessons with Dvoretsky, and this is one line that I worked on with him. I mean, you've got a problem now, basically. There's no way to protect d4. This is lost for white, I guess, after this. So that's why I was saying h3. But I think Save a Dog, the best way to play this, as my Indian friend played, is like d4, e takes d, c takes d, c takes d, knight a3. I think I saw a game, with some strong players that featured some strong players with that. I don't know who it was. Reasonably strong players. I can't remember my opponent's name, but anyway, it's not really relevant. Caruana's still in. Lenderman. I mean, you know, Lenderman is a black horse. You got to give the guy credit for a fantastic performance, but you know, the chances of him winning this tournament are like 1 in 100. At this point, they were like 1 in 100,000 when he started the tournament. Now they're like 1 in 100. Just every time someone says Lenderman, it just makes me remember when I had food poisoning and I lost to him. It's a bad, like the worst tournament of my life, where I should have dropped out after one round, but I didn't because I was stubborn. All right, so we win a pawn, clear pawn, and that should be, you know, pretty difficult for white to really justify. He has a tiny bit of strategic compensation. You could argue the white square bishop is good. I mean, basically I could play bishop takes d4. Probably he shouldn't trade it and play like knight c3, which would lead us in the similar kind of situation that we're in now. I mean, he just shouldn't really trade the dark square bishops, I think, in this position. I'll admit that white has a little bit of compensation, but it's not really enough to justify this pawn sacrifice. I could play d5. I would unbackwardize my pawn. I'm just not sure if it's worth it, you know, like activating his guy on the long diagonal. Probably I should just play around it. Maybe rook b8, just getting off the long diagonal here. This just seems to really give him a lot. Well, the thing was, when I lost to Lenderman, he was like 2100 and I was like 2450. So it was pretty painful. Later, he became very strong after I moved to Europe. You know, I moved here in 2004, so a lot of these guys I didn't really play with. Okay, knight c3, b5. I think I should just think about playing b5, or maybe, yeah, what's wrong with b5 anyway? Let's be a little bit aggressive. You know, it could end up in like an ops-colored bishop type of position where... Wonder if I had queen a5 there. That probably doesn't look right. Yeah, this is absolutely the best try. Well, how's he going to get an ops-colored bishop position? It's not easy to do. Now knight f4, bishop h6. Looks kind of funky. Play with 2 knights against 2 bishops. Got good control of the center here. You know, again, he has some kind of compensation because of the white square bishop and the d5 square, but I mean, under no circumstances should bad black ever be in any trouble here. It's just a question whether I can win or he can hold on. Rook c1 doesn't really do anything, as far as I know. Okay, he's activating his rook, but I would think that d1 would be a better square. You know, maybe I should just have exchanged bishops. I guess I'm not very alert here. I should have done this last move. whatever. Maybe I should have done it several moves ago, but it's better to have my knight coming to c6 first. And now it's basically a lock. If I play knight d4 and he plays b4, that could be kind of awkward. I mean, it's still probably winning, but he does get a little bit of counterplay. I mean, this way, I'm just coming to d4. Now he's going to have to basically... I think he's going to have to sacrifice the exchange. You know, with... Still, he has a little bit of play. He would have to sack the exchange there. Save a dog. What a great defender. He's still hanging in there. But maybe this move is a little bit over the top. Now his structure gets kind of chopped up. Let's see. Got to be careful we don't drop something here. Rook d8. Yeah, that's a good move too. Maybe I should have played this move in the first place. Rook g1. It's a very strange choice. Okay, now he just blundered. I mean, obviously I can play even f5 here, but it's kind of weakening. Two pawns down, he still has some tricks and stuff. I could just take and play king g7, I guess. We're going to have to play... I mean, we're going to have to play f5 at some point, most likely. Very stubborn defender. Guys, I have like 25 minutes left. He just keeps hanging on, hanging on. Not anymore. That'll finally put him out of business. Yeah, so if you analyze this opening, you're going to see here, this gambit exists, but not b3. Knight a3. Now, I'm surprised that d4 isn't played. So they're playing knight a3 first, for the most part. Now maybe I should play knight f6. I don't remember if my opponent had played rook e1 early or not. That's interesting. You know, I was wondering if he could just play this, though. Apparently there's no games in this exact order of moves, but I would think this would transpose. My opponent... My opponent must have had rook e1 in. I don't know. Okay, it wouldn't be in the lichess database. It was too recent. Something slightly different about that position than the game I played. Chess Armageddon. VFan already played. And then we've got another challenge from Theorems. That'll probably do it for today, guys. Not many subscribers here in the stream. A&E Bomba. Thanks for being a subscriber and being here watching the stream. The World Cup, the game starting in an hour. 1500 Tbilisi time. Well, that would be, I don't know what. What are they, 2 hours ahead? 1 hour ahead. I'm not sure. What is the Tbilisi time zone? These d4 hang a pawn. Of course it hangs a pawn. But white has compensation. Black's going to have some structural problems. It's a gambit. You know, it's a pawn sacrifice. In most cases, you end up getting it back. Very likely getting it back, because I'll have like double isolated pawns. If I take the other way with the pieces, my structure is kind of weird. I mean, I'm behind in development. You know, it's not that easy to do like knight takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, and have no development. White has compensation. Chess Armageddon. Okay, bishop e2. I could transpose to the Scheveningen, but I like the dragon better. When my opponents play bishop e2, I would definitely prefer to play the classical dragon than to play a Scheveningen. The Scheveningen is tough. There's a lot of dangerous lines for black that are like minefields in the Scheveningen, and the dragon, classical dragon, is like pretty safe for black. 1 hour to the start. World loser knows what he's talking about. So we're just in time. It's good. You guys can watch that. We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll do a viewer tournament, World Loser, if you want to be here and play. I'm going to host a viewer tournament tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Central European time. We tried it last week. It went pretty well. It was fun. Don't do it again. Won undefeated. But I don't think I'm going to play all the games. I think I'll probably play a few games and then kind of just like commentate, you know, the games played in the tournament. I'll be like a host for our viewer tournament tomorrow night. Okay, this is a main line. I did lose a game to Chess Armageddon. It was probably this variation. What was this, a simul? That looks like a dragon. What, was I down a piece and resigned? I don't remember. Tactical Wizard said he only gets to watch half an hour of the World Cup. Yeah, Aronian, if he's still alive, would be my favorite. Ivanchuk is great. I'm not surprised he beat Kramnik. How many games have they probably played with each other? It must be like an enormous amount of games. This is not really a sort of common move. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with Queen d2. But it's not as aggressive as f4 or g4. Those moves, I mean, g4 is really psychotic. Actually, I think it may be too late for g4. If he wants to do g4, he probably has to not castle and play it right away. But Queen d2 is some kind of safe move. I have d5 here. So I can equalize with d5. But it's not very exciting. d5, pawn takes pawn, knight takes, queen takes, queen takes, bishop takes, c3 with total equality. Maybe knight a5 now. This is kind of a standard move. I don't know though. I mean, should I play like rook c8? I can't protect my a7 pawn. No, if I want to equalize, I can do it with d5. That's the problem with queen d2. But on the other hand, maybe it's kind of drawish, you know. Now, I don't know about knight d5, queen takes d2, knight takes e7 check, king h8, bishop takes d2, knight takes e4. That might be better for black. Actually, his knight might be trapped on e7 in that position. So if he's thinking about that, you know, probably not a problem for me. I don't like knight g4, Tactical Wizard, almost ever. Don't do that, because you end up with a ghost bishop that that is not superior to a knight. This bishop is like my least favorite piece with black, almost across the board. So I wouldn't mind getting rid of this guy. I'd rather have a knight. This piece doesn't really have a function. You know, in the Benoni, it's a problem too. It just, like, the best you can do with it is, like, play bishop g4 and trade it off. The same thing in the dragon. I mean, his bishop isn't very good either. In this particular position, this bishop basically sucks for white. You know, we both have kind of crappy bishops. This position is equal. Black has a little more initiative along the c-file, but maybe I'm a hint better. He's played kind of passively here with, like, f3. You know, right out of the gate. I mean, that's why he needs to play f4. This is main line. f4 in this position. There really isn't anything else to do. If he wanted to play a different setup, he could play a different setup, you know, without bishop e3. But he played bishop e3 very early. There are more aggressive plans based on, like, bishop g5 or rook e1 or king h1. But once you play bishop e3, you're kind of committed to this main line. Just not a very exciting position. Yeah, no, I mean, I talk about knight d5, and I don't think that it's good for white. But now, I'm thinking about stuff like rook c6. Just pressurizing along the file. Rook c6. Rook c5. Sacking the exchange. I have a friend who's obsessed with sacrificing the exchange. We could do it here, but I don't see how it's justified objectively. I could also play just like knight d7, maybe. Maneuver the knight. Maybe this is more natural. Rook c6 is a bit, like, awkward. Now we have real threats. So some kind of endgame. Maybe we're just... So again, you know, it would be nice to sacrifice the exchange, but it's not really happening. Safety first. My king's a little exposed, you know, in a queens on the board sort of position. I don't know. I don't have to trade queens, but it's safe. I guess it's equal. Maybe I should try for more. I don't know. Keeping the queens on. His queen is a very strong piece here, though. I just did a video series for the site called thechessworld.com. This is going to come out. I did a middle game series, and it's like a middle game masterclass. So you can check out thechessworld.com. I don't think it's even up on the website yet, but basically there's a part in my series where I talk about when to exchange queens, and this position reminded me of that. His queen is just a monster piece. I mean, it's sitting in the middle of the board. It's just dominating everything. You know, if you don't exchange that piece off, I don't see how you can really do anything for black. I could like chase it around with knight e5, knight c6 maybe, but that gets in the way of my pieces. I had a game like this in June when I played a tournament here in Hungary. Take with the rook. The threat is stronger than the execution. Taking with the knight is pretty, but I have no forward. motion after that. Here I can threaten to sacrifice the exchange. We'll play f6 if necessary, I guess. Now an exchange sacrifice is possible. Probably justifiable, but not absolutely necessary. And I think I'm probably playing b5 here. Should be in good shape. He has a3 though. No, a3, a5. Sort of standard minority attack, breaking through at c2. Everything's coordinated. He doesn't have f5. He doesn't have e5. We're going to play b4 next. Guys, we're going to play one more game. I think I had 2 challenges. But VFan already played. We're going to play this last game against a new player. And that'll do it for today. We're going to be back with a viewer tournament tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Central European Time. World Loser, I hope you can make it. I understand if you can't. We'll be searching for another moderator to try to make it a little easier on the trolls. Okay, so what's this about? Rook b1. He's just defending his b2 pawn. Right, but I can take it. We can take it and play rook takes c2. Okay, my pawn is kind of weak, but I can push it up and defend it with like knight c5, I guess. Rook a7 could be met by rook c7. So I think we're winning. I guess this way, naturally. He doesn't have check rook b8, which is convenient. I don't want him on my pawn. And this should be a technical win for black. I'm pretty compact. Everything's protected. He can't hit my pawns very easily. For rook on the 7th, he's tied down to this. Got a good knight coming to c5. Now he's harassing me. To calculate a bit here. Knight c5. Almost. Knight c5, rook takes b4. Ouch. Knight d3. Does that just win by force? Knight c5, rook takes b4, knight d3. No way to avoid the mate. Typically, rook and bishop is a better combination than rook and knight. Here he is. Simply hanging on. I don't see a forced win. Well, yeah, maybe knight b3, knight d2 should do it. I might have had something better. I don't know, but this way we get him off of b1 and probably just pick off this pawn. Should be the cleanest. We're threatening to double rooks on the 7th. Plus there's the back rank mate. I mean, he can't even play this because of rook c1 mate. Basically no way to survive. b3. I'm not sure if I should play b3 or not. I guess we just go to the 7th and start taking stuff. It's got to be winning for black. That gives him time for a moment to do something, maybe. But objectively, I'm winning. We'll just defend, I guess. A 4 against 1 rook ending. Maybe I had better, but this is good enough. No reason to avoid this. Okay, guys, we have time for one more game. He's going to play this out. 4 down against 1. Yeah, I know, dude. This, even I can't mess this up, man. All right. 3 against 1. I could kind of see playing it out. Much more likely I'd mess that up. Still hard to do. But 4 against 1. We're going to be playing one more game. Three connected pass pawns against none. It doesn't look good for white. Nothing really to say about this position. Can't really comment. We'll just I guess I have to play like here, and then e4, and then king g5. I was hoping to get one more game in, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time now. It would be better to play a faster game. This guy's challenging me to 8+3, but this game is really dragging on. Would be cool if we could continue. Thank you. Tirams, 8+3. Never played this guy before. I hope he's still here. He probably thought I was gonna leave. Angry. White has a resigning position, definitely. Even if it was just 2 pawns. But with the 2 pawns, okay, I guess if it was like on the side of the board, like the rook and G pawns. Once I had that against Alex Scherzer and he didn't resign. Rook and G and H. It's a little harder to promote those than the central pawns are really easy. But with 3 pawns, I think it's safe to resign. You know, obviously if it was like a game without increment, I could understand you playing for time or something. But But if there's an increment and there's no way I'm going to lose on time, it just doesn't really seem to... I don't see the point, you know, in playing it out. All right, we're going to try c5. I've played more like bishop f5 type of lines lately, but I was... you know, everyone has a right to decide when they resign. There's always a kind of etiquette, though, about it. Again, if it was like a flagging situation in a 3-0 or 5-0 game, obviously bullet, you know, you play it out and you try to win on time, but I'm never going to lose on time there, so I would definitely resign. Anyway, moving on, it's like c5 or bishop f5 in this position, and bishop f5 is a traditional move. I've played a lot of games with that, and it's good. It's probably the better move. But c5 remains interesting. There was a recent game Topalov played with black against Karyakin earlier this year, and Topalov lost very convincingly in this variation. c3 isn't the main move. Usually white plays d takes c, and the other way to play is, you know, trying to take the pawn and hold on to it. The other way to play is knight f3, but c3, it's a way to play. I guess it's not bad. It's just not as common. So now, just play knight c6, I guess. Basically, we're going to get the bishop outside the pawn chain in a lot of scenarios, which gives us kind of like a good advanced French, if you would. It would be interesting if he takes this pawn. You know, I mean, maybe I take this, I don't know. That's always a very imbalanced situation. You know, sometimes white's ahead in development in these kind of positions, and you're taking this pawn and white gets some pressure, unlike the open files and stuff. But here, I don't think this is like a classical type of move. Terems is taking his time. He played h3. Right, how do I get rid of these stupid arrows? Damn it. I didn't mean to make that capture. I just wanted to get the damned arrow off the board. I made a bad move. I don't want to play c takes d. Maybe I made a good move. Nah, I don't know. I don't like it. This exchange was bad for me. I did not mean to do this. Oh well. Thank you, lichess. I just wanted to get rid of the arrow, but I couldn't get it off the board. Now I have a bad position. Okay, it's not that bad. Probably I can play bishop f5 here. But exchanging on d4 is a very bad move, because this gives him a good square for his knight on c3. You know, in general, I should not do that. Let him have a good square for his knight on c3. The arrows. I want to get rid of the arrows because they're just irritating. So anyway, maybe my position is not that bad, but giving him this square for his knight is a huge mistake. h3 is a good move by Terems. Whoops, sorry. So knight c6, h3. What should I play here? Well, some kind of waiting move. I have to make sure to click on squares that there aren't pieces I can move to, I guess. g6. No, g6 probably, knight f3. And then it's knight h6, I would think. Actually, I don't know. Queen b6 is possible. I'm not really sure. This move isn't, I wouldn't call this move dangerous. You know, this is... Now the question is, should I play like knight e7, bishop g6, or trade bishops, developing his queen? I don't really have a great way of getting my pieces out. You know, this knight on e7, this is the problem with the advanced Caro-Kann. And like our French defense game earlier, it's very tempting for black to play like bishop b4 check. But I don't want to trade. Still, this might not be a bad plan. Bishop b4 check, knight c3, knight e7, castles. No, I have to take on d3 first. Queen takes, knight e7. And maybe I trade my bishop for his knight, but then he takes with a pawn. He'll have a good dark square bishop that's active on the dark squares. White is not worse. White is at least equal here. You can make an argument for like bishop b5 or even bishop e2 instead of bishop d3 though. I really am not sure what to play in this position. Looks great. Bishop f5 might be an improvement over g6. Yeah, I think so. It's definitely more solid. Queen b6. Sort of stupid move. Now the question is, where do I put my knight? If he plays the insane g4, I'll play knight h4. You know, this is very much like a typical theme in the advanced French. So that would enter into kind of Twilight Zone territory where I'm going to be able to play like h5. I haven't castled yet. I can probably start an attack on the king's side. Bishop e7, g4, knight h4, knight takes, bishop takes. Not quite as appealing. Here I have queen b6 now. This actually looks okay. He has kind of weakened this square. Thanks to a3, which I don't really like, you know. I mean, he's got a lot of white square weaknesses in the position because he doesn't have a white square bishop anymore. However, looking for tactics here, but I don't see any. He's going to have knight c3. Maybe I should even consider h5. I don't like playing h5. One might make the well, the maneuver queen a6 should be considered. My structure is not ideal, but it is playable. My knight on f5 is going to get kicked out a lot. I don't really like it too much. This is basically a cheapo, but a logical constructive move anyway. I was looking at knight a5. My other knight, though, is going to get kicked out. He played b4. Okay, this is hopefully just a blunder that loses outright. Knight takes d4. Because this is hanging. That's why I said it was a cheapo. We're lucky. He has to play knight c3 there. You know, and there is a slight weakness of the white squares, but he has ideas like knight a4 sometimes. I don't have this tactic anymore. After knight c3, I think white, you know, has an interesting game. I mean, it's still not, it looks a little weird, but because he has so many squares with pawns on dark squares and the dark square bishop. But it's not really clear what I do after knight c3. So now I force a trade of queens. So he can trap my queen in some weird way, which I very seriously have to watch out for. Maybe it's knight takes d4, bishop e3 loses. Oh man, I have a bad feeling about this. I have to be very careful here. Queen c2 and queen c4, maybe if worse comes to worse, I can do that. But he just walks into this. This is a bad practical decision. I mean, he has to play queen c2 there. He's lucky. He's lucky he even has that. Queen c2. You know, queen takes rook. Maybe it doesn't work, but I mean, I thought, well, he's got something. Maybe not. He's got b5. Then I have knight e7. Okay, maybe it doesn't work at all. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I thought queen c2 might work, but I guess I'm fantasizing here. Queen e2. Probably doesn't work, so defends against the threat of rook takes bishop, and we're just winning. Just winning. We're a pawn up. White doesn't have any real compensation, but let's see. Knight b3 probably, you know, is a good attempt to get my own knight trapped. So I'm not really down with that. Rook c2, another good try for getting your knight trapped. Probably a successful one. You got to be careful not to overreach with your pieces. I guess I can play knight c6, and if rook c2, king d7. It's kind of an odd continuation, but I can even play knight e7. Okay, this is simplest because I'm attacking his pawn. That would limit the amount of moves he can make. That's how passionately I hate the Caro-Kann. Yeah, I sort of hate the Caro-Kann too. I keep trying to make it work, but every game is like a struggle. Even when I'm like up a clear pawn in an ending, I feel like I'm still facing difficulties here. Capablanca wouldn't mind this position, I guess. White just miscalculated. I mean, this was a disaster for White, but it just goes to show it's still not that easy. I'm a pawn up, and I still have to think. Now, the critical juncture. Do I play this? Yes. Centralizing the Kirai. Kirai is king in Hungarian. So we're up one pawn, threatening a second, and our king is safe enough in this endgame. It is an endgame now. Queens and two minor pieces off. I mean, I think the endgame is probably a queen and one piece exchanged. We start to talk about an endgame. Well, I like to play the Hungarian, but how do I know that word? I live in Hungary. Remedy HS. Magyarország. Budapesten. I live in Budapest since 2004. It's funny. If you're Hungarian and you didn't know that, I'm streaming from Hungary. That's really ironic. We are a Hungarian resident. Bishop e7. I don't know, maybe he doesn't live in Hungary. A lot of Hungarians living elsewhere, especially in Europe, but also in the United States. Bishop e7. Whenever you see like the old movies, there are tons of Hungarian names in the credits. Anything from TV, from the 40s until the 1990s. Sheppy says, only problem, 2,400 players that know how to beat you in 20 moves without thinking. What do you mean? In the Najdorf? Oh man, the Najdorf is tough. You know, you've got to learn so much theory. That's why I dismissed the Najdorf immediately. In like 1987 or 1986, when I was learning to play the Sicilian, I had the Complete Najdorf by John Nunn. I think it was the Complete Najdorf, which was like a 300-page book, and I had this Poison Pawn book. I mean, I had a book just on the Poison Pawn. I'm not sure if it's even good to play Knight D4 here, but I do want to trade pieces. I saw a variation that made me nervous. Generally, when you're up pieces or pawns, you want to trade pieces, but not necessarily pawns. He has bishop e3 here. That was kind of bugging me. You know, now that that's off the table, I feel safe again. I don't want him to win my a7 pawn, of course. I was afraid of bishop e3, knight c6, b5. But I'm going to take the pawn on e5. It didn't matter. Well, in any case, it's not that easy to win a pawn-up endgame. It's to forgive my allergies. Maybe b5. I'm a little trouble on time here. We're a clear pawn up. That doesn't necessarily mean a win, though. I mean, I think that you need more than a pawn to win a game. You need to accumulate like additional advantages. I mean, in a king and pawn endgame, obviously a pawn up is a total win. In very simplified situations, being a pawn up is a total win. Maybe some bishop endgames, knight endgames for sure. But this one is complex enough that, you know, honestly, with knights and bishops on the board, he has drawing chances, even a clear pawn down. I've got to be accurate. I'm not even sure about g6. Seems like a kind of normal move, but white has a better king. But I thought this move is problematic for him. Patient defense by white. And my king is really... Oh, I'm just winning a pawn. What am I talking about? So you had to take on a5. Oh my god. That's over. No, it was terrible blunder, bishop d2. He has to take on a5. Now he's 2 pawns down. It's hopeless for white. 1 pawn down is definitely not hopeless. 2 pawns down should be hopeless, if my technique is credible. Yeah, bishop d2, just a catastrophic blunder. Passed pawns must be pushed. He'll blockade on b3. Yeah, you can't maintain that square. It is over. Last game for today, guys. I'll be back tomorrow night with a viewer tournament. 6:30 p.m. Central European time. From Hungary. And still he's staying alive here. Maybe b3 is like very interesting, but alright. He's still kind of paralyzed no matter what I do. f6? Can I play f6? Break? Nah. He forgot it's protected. Melting down. Nothing to do. All right, guys. Thank you for the games, and we'll be back tomorrow night. Viewer tournament, 6:30 p.m. CEST. Please subscribe to my Twitch channel, and also check out my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. I want to thank everyone for being here. World Loser for for being a sort of part-time moderator, and we will be back with the viewer tournament tomorrow night on lichess at 6:30 p.m. I'll probably moderate and host the tournament, play a few games myself, and analyze the top games in the tournament. Yonapot. Oh, he lived in Hungary for 3 months as well. TRMs, that's cool. I didn't even notice you mentioning that. That's funny. So, all right, guys. Anyway, it was fun today. We'll be back tomorrow night, and please make donations via PayPal if you want to support the stream and my YouTube channel. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.